Hello, I'm Cara, and I just finished stitching this commission last night, and I thought I would take the opportunity to actually show how I frame these pieces in embroidery hoops. So this is, right now it's on the Q-snap or quilting frame, and Q-snap used to be like the best brand of these. I doubt that it still is. I worked for the folks who owned the patent in 2019. I haven't looked into if they've sold it or not, but it's a little place called Yarn Tree. And they were just very obviously, like silent generation age couple who were trying to get as much out of their little cross stitch warehouse like supply company without investing anything back into it. So we were in the process of finding new suppliers, new producers of the actual plastic pieces, and then we would quality control and put them together, the different sizes. Anyway, so this is actually an old one. I think it has a date printed on it somewhere, but anyway, that's not actually the point. Just took this piece off the Q-snap. Going to be framing it in this. This is a 7-inch embroidery hoop. And the way I do this, I'm going to show you each piece as I do it. So we're just going to put this simply in the hoop. Whoop. I'm not going to center it too carefully. So we're just going to put it in the hoop, look like this. So we have the inner circle on the back, and the outer circle gets pushed down on the top, and then you have this. We can tighten according to how tight you want it, how thick. It changes how thick the fabric is and stuff, how much tension you want. Anyway, and it's absolutely possible to also, many people just use these to stitch in, and they're, tried and true. The Q-snaps are a little more easily adjustable and hold things a little tighter, but these work just great. So you can see I have my square piece of fabric, has all these edges. You can see the back, which it's a little messier than my normal it's not very big, or there's not too many different stitches, but a lot more colors in one place than I often do for maps and things. But I want to turn this into something that I can hang on the wall. And this is a technique I learned from I saw someone on Instagram do with, I think they had leftover mat board from possibly other art projects. So we're going to use a piece of paper. Okay, so I have a bunch of mat board circles and paper circles cut out in different sizes. They're in these project bags. Just have to find the size I'm looking for. I recently cut up, that'll do. Let's see. Okay, so I don't have a great array of colors, but we'll do that. So I have all these. I'm gonna take the blue. Doesn't matter too much, obviously the backing will be facing the wall. Oops. So a piece of paper circle, which looks like I might actually not have any of the right size. I think it might be close enough. And the paper circles will go in between the fabric and the back of the hoop. So I'm actually just going to mark this and cut it quickly. So I put together, I have this kind of reference set of hoops that I can use for tracing things. They are held together with a pipe cleaner at the moment. Going to see if I can be lazy. For this particular thing, it's the thing that matters the least, if the actual size is right. So I'm measuring just with the outer hoop for the paper. The backing mat board is measured with the inner hoop, which you know will be a similar size, but not exactly the same. Okay, I'm being lazy with that, but that's okay. And I have this reference set of hoops to help keep track if things don't have labels, because I buy things secondhand, or I just you have to take the label off in order to open up the hoop. So I take them off if I've tried out a hoop on a certain piece to try out the size or whatever. Anyway, so I put together this reference set to compare to, so I always know what I'm working with. Just quickly cut this fabric circle. Oh, and also because, as you saw, I just or maybe didn't see too well, but I just outlined this outer hoop, roughly that size, with a pencil. And it's very hard to do that without getting some pencil on the inside of this, which can then rub off on your fabric. I can take time to erase and wipe that off, but it's easier if it just never shows up, or it's never there to begin with. So from the front, the order of all these things is going to be the front piece of the hoop, then the fabric, and then the back piece of the hoop. Oh no, sorry. The front piece of the hoop, then the fabric, and then the paper, the back piece of the hoop. And then once that's all tightened in, we'll fix this backing bit on to hold in the extra corners of the fabric. So we'll go into that bit by bit. So I set down, I have just like a little board in or actually just this mat board, using as a board in my lap. So I'm going to set this down, the back of the hoop and the piece of paper on top of it. Just use white acid-free printer paper, so it shouldn't be leaching out anything that's going to damage or discolor, not really necessarily damage, but shouldn't be leaching anything out that's going to discolor the fabric. It also gives just a nice clean, just having a piece of paper there gives a nice clean back to this, because there are obviously little holes. I don't know how close I can get, if you can see, but you can see a little bit, like the reflection of the mirror and stuff a bit through this. Anyway, so some color can show through, and if you have bunched up fabric in the back, sometimes that can make shadows and things that throw off the colors, or just look lumpy and not great. And having a piece of paper there helps. So set down the fabric. I'm going to push the top of the hoop on it. I'm going to take more time to center this. I know I don't have the best camera setup for this yet. I'd like to figure out a way where I can be filming my face when I'm talking and my hands at the same time. But okay, so this is often how this ends up. Ideally, this would be just perfectly sized and say perfectly centered, so that it was a little bit caught on all the way around, but it often ends up a little to one side. I don't care about that too much, though. It's also, you can cut those paper circles just a little bit bigger, so there's a little more overlap. Anyway, this is going to be on the inside, so nobody's going to see it. So now I'm going to carefully, not super carefully at first, I'm just going to, with this on a flat surface, kind of scrunch in all of the back and get it try to make the edges as clean as possible, just folding it with my hands. Because Aida fabric is quite stiff. I'm going to cut off some of these strings that are starting to the sides. Boop, beep, bop. Okay. Anyway, so Aida fabric is quite stiff, so it will hold a crease, hold a shape better than other fabrics. It just means if I take the time to kind of push this all in with my fingers first, so kind of taking the time to even this out as much as possible. It won't be perfect. I don't, I try, since I am selling pieces, I do take the time to do things well, but, this is the back of the piece that's going to be against the wall. So it does not need to be perfect. It just needs to be even and have as few, as you fold it up, you'll get these corners and folds. You just want those to be as small and as few as possible so that it'll lie flat. So yeah, it'll have a flat back to lean against the wall and not bunch out wall or wherever it ends up. Okay, and now I'm just setting this pre-cut circle on top. This is hard to see, but I can feel pushing it that there's a bit here that is just a bit too big. So these also I cut, if it's cut to exactly the size of the hoop, it will always need to be trimmed, or with Aida fabric will always need to be trimmed down a bit, because the fabric is a bit stiff and thick, so it'll take up some space to accommodate for. Okay, but just needed to cut off a little bit, and then I pushed it down straight down, trying to keep all these edges. Yeah, so now I have this piece that is ready to hang, just on a nail, or sometimes I put a ribbon through these when I hang them my own. And this is all ready to go. I'll wrap it in some tissue paper, and and then wrap in some tissue paper, put it in a padded envelope, and address it and get it off to the mailbox. So thank you very much. I hope that was helpful. I'm going to take a couple pictures, I think, of this pointed at the piece and not at my face. So that'll be on my social media. Thank you very much.